For most of modern history, ownership meant sovereignty. If you owned something, you controlled it. You decided how it was used, and you controlled access. That model is quietly disappearing. Not because ownership stopped working, but because it worked too well. Ownership creates an endpoint. From a business perspective, endpoints are a problem. They cap revenue, control, and leverage. Controlled access doesn't. Start with something simple: music. If you bought an album on vinyl or CD, it was yours. You didn't need permission to listen. It couldn't be revoked. It didn't disappear when a contract changed. The distributor couldn't alter it. The platform couldn't decide it violated policy. Ownership meant permanence. Streaming changed that. With streaming, you don't own music. You rent access to a catalog. Songs appear and disappear. Albums change versions. Entire catalogs vanish overnight. The system is working as designed because your access can be modified. The same thing happened to movies. Owning a DVD meant the film existed in your possession. Streaming means the film exists at the pleasure of licensing agreements you never see. That's not a technological limitation, it's a contractual one. Software followed next. Programs used to be purchased, installed, and owned. Now they're licensed. You don't own the tool, you're granted permission to use it. That permission can change, expire, be revoked. Updates are framed as improvements, but updates are also control mechanisms. Features can be removed and capabilities restricted. The terms controlling your ability to use them are rewritten. Ownership doesn't allow that. Physical objects didn't escape this shift. They are being lost too. Cars now ship with hardware you technically own, but features you don't control. Heated seats, remote start, performance settings are now becoming locked behind subscriptions. You paid for the machine. You rent its functionality. It's the same access logic applied to physical goods. Even tools, tractors, equipment, appliances are increasingly software gated. You can own the object and still need permission to repair it. This is about control after the sale. Ownership used to imply autonomy. Access implies dependency. Dependency is easier to monetize. Now zoom out. Housing is undergoing the same reframing. A mortgage used to represent a path to ownership. 30 years was already a compromise. Now 50-year mortgages are being proposed. Not quietly, publicly. Framed as affordability. Framed as accessibility. Framed as help. But functionally, a 50-year mortgage does something else. It turns ownership into a lifetime subscription. Most borrowers will never fully own the home outright. They will age inside the payment structure. The asset never becomes sovereign, and the bank's leverage never fully disappears. It's about stretching the payment horizon so the relationship never ends. Ownership delayed is control preserved. Even renting is being rebranded as subscription housing, flexible living, lifestyle access. It is, in effect, permanent tenancy. Sovereignty is inconvenient for companies. When you own something outright, you don't need customer service. You don't generate ongoing data to farm and sell. You cease to provide predictable revenue. Data is another reason ownership is disappearing. Owned products generate limited information. Access-based systems generate continuous surveillance. What you use, how often, and when you stop. When you only have access, enforcement is instant. Miss a payment, access paused. Break a rule, access revoked. This is why terms of service replaced warranties. Warranties assume ownership. Terms assume permission. Permissions can be withdrawn. What's important is that this shift isn't driven by consumer demand. It's driven by corporate preference. Ownership creates independence. Controlled access creates continuing authority. Once you see this, the pattern becomes obvious. Many different industries, same direction, moving quietly away from sovereignty toward managed access. The language will always emphasize convenience, flexibility, choice, affordability. But convenience is just the marketing layer. The structural benefit is control that never expires. This doesn't mean every access model is malicious, but it does mean the incentives are aligned. Companies don't prefer controlled access because it helps you. They prefer it because ownership ends dependence and control. Controlled access keeps them alive. That's when the difference between owning and accessing becomes clear. Thanks for watching. This channel looks at how modern systems are designed, how control, incentives, and authority are embedded in everyday arrangements that are rarely described honestly. Understanding those systems doesn't reverse them, but it does restore awareness. I hope this helped you see what's really happening behind the fine print.